Hello, students. Let's read the problem. And it says, Mrs. Montemayor rented a party room to celebrate her daughter's sweet 16. She gave an initial payment to separate the party room and made a fixed payment every month. The following table shows the amount of money she has given during the first 6 months. Based on this information, which of the following statements is true? Okay, so let's see if we know what's happening here. Well, the first thing I want you to analyze is that Mrs. Montemayor already gave a initial payment. So what does that mean? It means that she's giving kind of like money. They call it sometimes like a deposit, right? So it's like you secure the place by giving them so much money. So she already did that. She already gave them money, right? After that, she's gonna give payments every month. And it says fixed because that means that every month she's gonna give exactly the same amount of money. Is that right? So I want you to look at the table right now. We're gonna make it from that 7th grade point of view. And it says in 2 months, she already gave $490. In 4 months, $730. And in 6 months, $970. Is that right? So the first thing that, if you remember a little bit about 7th grade, basically what you would do is you would try to find what we call a pattern. Is that right? I'm trying to find if the rate of change is constant or not. So, for example, how do I go from a 2 to a 4? Well, I hope you're thinking about adding a 2. And then from a 4 to a 6, you are adding a 2. Is that correct? Okay, what about on the amount of money? How do I go from $490 to $730? And then from $730 to $970. So let's suppose that you cannot think of a number that added to $490 gives you $730. Then you do it backwards. You do the opposite. Subtract $730 minus $490. What would you get? Right? Okay, so you're going to get $240. So I need to add 240 to that. Now, does it work for the next one? Can I add 730 plus 240? And do I get 970? If the answer is yes, then we found what is called constant rate of change. Very good. So this is basically what it means. It means the change of the y and the change of the x. Very good. So the change of the y is 240 and the change of the x is 2. If you simplify, it means divided by 2. You will get 120 over 1. And that, like I said, is called your rate of change. Okay? Now, you need to remember, and I hope you remember, that the rate of change is the same as a slope. Is that right? Okay? So basically, I'm finding slope for that. Okay? Now, I want you to consider now going to the opposite direction because you know how important it is for us to find the 0 for x. Because if you find x equals 0, then the y value will be your y-intercept. And many, I don't want to say all, yeah, but it is all the time. If x is 0, then the y will be your y-intercept. And that will be considered your initial payment, or it can be your starting payment. Okay? So be careful with that. So instead of saying plus 2, I'm going to go backward. And the opposite of adding is subtracting. And 2 minus 2, I get a 0. And now you're going to do the opposite. Instead of adding 240, I'm going to take away 240. And I will get 250. Very good. Okay? So what does that mean? What is 250 then? Now, look at the point that you found now. You have 0 to 50. That means that when you are in the month 0, you already paid $250. Can we think about that then as the initial payment? Very possible, right? So we'll come back to this one in a minute. But it seems like that's going to be my answer, right? Now, let's suppose I don't remember how to do that in 7th grade, and I just remember how to find the slope. So there is a formula that you use for that is called slope of a line. So that would be y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. And I'm going to use one of the points that are given to me. You can choose whichever point you want. I'm going to choose 2 and 490. And I'm also going to choose 4 and 730. Okay? So my values here will be x and y. So the first one will be x sub 1, y sub 1. Second one will be x sub 2 and y sub 2. Okay, very good. We're going to circle my y values. Because remember, those are the values that goes on the numerator. So I'm going to write down y equals 730 minus 490. And x of 2, it's 4 minus 2. And what would I get for that one? I'm going to get 240 over 2. And if you simplify this, you will get 120 over 1. And I want you to notice about those numbers right now. Isn't that what I got earlier on my constant rate of change? I believe that one of the things that it can really help you is if you write labels here. For example, 120 is coming from the y. Is that right? The y is money, so I'm going to write down money here. And the x, which is my numerator, it's money. Sorry, not money. What is it? Months. Very good. Okay, so let's write it down. This is months. So if you look at the labels and you read what it means that Mrs. Montemayor will pay $120, because that's a money sign, in 1 month. In other words, $120 each month. Is that right? Okay, very good. Now the question is that true that $250 is the initial payment? Well, we're going to work it out, and maybe this can help us understand the problem, okay? So we're going to write down the equation y equals mx plus b. Now remember that this is also very important for you guys to know how to use it, because it will help you to find either one. It might help you to find the slope if you don't have it, but it can also help you to find the y-intercept. So right now, I'm going to choose one of the points that I have, and that will be my x and my y value. Okay, so let's replace the values here. So the y is 490, m is 120, x is 2. I'm choosing the points from the 2 and the 490, okay? Plus b. Let's continue my equation. 120 times 2 gives me 240 plus b. I need to get rid of the 240. So I'm going to take away 240 on both sides. And the 240 will cancel each other. And 490 minus 240 gives me 250. So what does the 250 represent? 250 is the initial payment. Exactly. That's how much money Mrs. Montemayor is going to give them to save them, or for them to save the party room. Okay, so let's look at the answer choices. Which answer choice is the one that tells you that she will pay $120 per month, and that she's already given an initial payment of $250? So everything seems the same initial payment, but the one that says 250 is right here, and 120 per month. So my answer will be letter B for that one.